Welcome to the Dixie Doggers podcast. We're here to share knowledge and heritage. We hope y'all enjoy. Southern Cross. It's the best cut gear in the business. We run it on our dogs. Hit up Dave Williams at Southern Cross Cut Gear. Go to www.hogdoggear.com. If you're looking for Brahma and Brahma Cross cattle, Marc Rankin with the Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company, he specializes in them. He is the man for the job. He's based out of Oglethorpe County, Georgia, and you can contact him at 407-832-2077.
If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties, 678-791-3483.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody, Dixie Doggers podcast right here, basically. Right in your face. We're right here one more time. Got a guest with us tonight. It was a kind of surprise to me because Nathan keeps surprising me with guests all the time that I don't know who they even are until I don't know who we're interviewing until like that day or right before it. So I've been wanting to talk with this guy for a while. This is Cody Hess. I follow him on Instagram and social media and stuff, and I've really he's really piqued my interest on a lot of stuff. So I'm glad to have you with us today, Cody. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. Thank y'all so much for having me on. I don't know if I can provide any information or not, but we'll chat about it anyway.
That's all we can do, man. Just all we can do. So give the audience a rundown of who you are and where you're from and what you do.
Okay, my name is Cody Hess. I'm from a very small town of Lindsay, Texas. My wife and I have grown up in North Texas our whole lives. We both went to Texas A&M and moved back here. We got 3 kids. I enjoy running dogs in my spare time. For the last 6 or 7 years, it's been pretty well just straight hog dogs, but I've had a bunch of other hunting dogs in my life and just kind of landed on hog dogs. Well, I started many years ago, probably like 2009 or 10, somewhere in there. Buddy and I got real interested in it, got into it, but I got out of it, and then the last 6 or 7 years I got back into it real heavy. So I sure enjoy running the dogs.
What kind of dogs are you running, Cody?
Mainly everything I got on the strike dog side is pretty well half hound.
Mm-hmm.
On the catch dog side, I kind of do things differently than a lot of people. We primarily hunt off of mules.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a lot of the purebred bulldogs, they gas out and, they can't really hang with the mules as good. So we kind of cut that in half, 5/8, 3/4, down anywhere in there, half to 3/4, half bulldog, half blackmouth, half catahoula, whatever it may be. Just try to cut them in half. I've got 2 litters of puppies on the ground right now. One of them I bred to a guy named Dawson Terry. He's a local young man here that hog hunts. He's got a really nice, big, tall male dog. It's 3/4 bulldog and 1/4 greyhound.
Oh, yeah.
And we put that dog over a bulldog I got. She's half bulldog and half English pointer. So I think that makes them 5/8 bulldog and then 1/4 English pointer, and whatever the remainder is would be that greyhound. And then I don't know, I got another litter that's probably 6 or 7 months old. It's half blackmouth, Kyle Nix. Blackmouth, his dad had them since the 80s. He brought them up to South Texas. He lives up in Oklahoma. I don't know, y'all may know him or heard of him, I don't know. But he's got some pretty good blackmouths, and I put one of his blackmouth males over. Kyle Nip.
Kyle Nip. That name
He
sounds
lives up
very
there
familiar.
off Oswald Road. I know y'all go to that hog baying.
Yeah.
The Mud Creek baying.
Yes.
He may have been there or not. I don't know if he was there or not.
I know Dawson was. He showed me that male dog you were talking
Yeah, I was
about.
thinking to say,
Dawson was there.
Dawson was there, yeah. I want to say that I've either talked with Kyle or I met him. I don't know. That name, I know who you're talking about anyway.
Yeah, he's a younger man. He's probably 25, 26, 27, somewhere in there, but pretty good dude. Him and I've done quite a bit of breeding back and forth over the years. Or I've got a dog that he bred when it was a puppy, and an old man had it, and he coon hunted with him or tried to spoil coon hunt. All he wanted to do was trash on dogs. Because I got that dog about 4 or 5 years ago. He's been one of my best dogs, real good dog named Brute.
Hell yeah. Can't beat that. You're talking about the catch dogs, mixing them up like that. We started doing that ourselves years ago.
Is that right? What are y'all running?
Well, I at one time all I had was I had old game dogs. I had a lot of them.
Right.
Then we tried a little bit bigger bulldog. Like you said, they would gas out a little bit, especially when summertime, real hot and humid. It was tough on them. So we would do the bird bulls, English pointer crossed with a good bulldog. Then the Airedale,
the drop.
Then we went to the wire hair pointer, or the drots. We went to the drothars, and we had some really good luck out of those.
Those were my favorite running catch dog cross.
Then the
I had a drothar cross, but man, he just sit there and look at things. He didn't want nothing to do with it.
Really?
Yeah, I tried a draught. He was all half draught and half. Maybe had a little bull terrier in him and some other stuff I can't recall. But man, I couldn't get him interested. He just said, "I ain't gonna do it."
That's that happens.
Absolutely. There's good and bad in all of it.
That's right, and that's the thing about it. There's probably 1,000. There's 999 other ones that went right to work, and then you got the one that didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
I've seen that cross work a bunch of times, and I've also had a couple of other people that told me a similar story. They're like, "Man, mine didn't really kick off," and I'm like, "Well, dang, man,
I don't know why they wouldn't." If you go by the book, they ought to be just jam up as they get, kind of like that bird bull mix. I mean, I've had 2 of those that were just outstanding for a dog that's not a pure bulldog to catch like they did was just outstanding. I've been trying to get back. I lost Larry about 2 or 3 years ago, and he was a half bulldog and half English pointer, and man, he was solid. Yeah, I'm just trying to get back to him. I still got Ruby. She's probably 7 years old now. She's gotten a little softer in her older age. She used to be very hard. She was getting old on me, and I'm trying to replace her. So I had puppies out of her. Another white now, just trying to get back on track.
Yeah, that's one of those things there that was hard for me, because I never would breed nothing because I was hunting all the time, and I was like, man, I said, I don't want, because I had a lot of females, so I was always like, well, I don't want to stand her up, and man, next thing you know, I was out of blood, I'm like, what I got, I got to go call people and beg and borrow to get a pup that I let them have 10 years ago, or something off of it. Oh
yeah, it sure sucks laying one up for, I don't know, whatever it takes, 63 days gestation and a few weeks of heat. I mean, you're talking 2.5 months out of pocket. Plus, then you got to
wean them,
raise them another 6 weeks and 8 weeks. Then you're another 2 months. I mean, it just takes so much effort to get dogs on the ground and going.
There's no doubt. So what we started doing, like we've got some dogs, and if I come to you and I say, hey, I want to get a pup, what I want to really do is try to get 2 females. And the reason is I'll take the better of those 2 females. That's going to be my main bitch I'm going to hunt. And the other one, I want to keep her so I can breed to her.
You bet.
You know what I mean? That way but I mean, I'm going to hunt both of them no matter what. They're still going to get hunted. But if I have to stand
one, you're going to kind of breed when you get
That's right. I got one that's going to be more important in the field, and I got one that's going to be more important at home. And that's tough for some people because, man, you get a lot of dogs like that. You wind up having 30.
That's what I was about to ask. How many dogs keep it on your yard?
Man, we ain't hardly got none now. We're probably down to 30. We done got way down now. we have had upwards of 60, 70. For years I kept. How many would you say on average? 40?
45, 50 with puppies.
Yeah, with young dogs, pups, and stuff, probably I would say as an average.
That's a lot of mouths to feed and take care of.
Man, my feed bill has dropped in half this year. And the reason is I've got some of my old rough dogs. I had a lot of running catch dogs because that's all I ran for a long time. And so I got rid of probably 6 or 8 of those, and then several young dogs. So, I mean, I moved a dozen dogs pretty quick. And that, man, I didn't realize how quick that gets up on that feed bill. And it also helps when they're gone. So, because it's like, man, my feed bill ain't nowhere near as bad.
And less to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it takes, half the time to feed and water.
Oh yeah.
Or less. It's crazy.
That's
It's
right.
crazy. So ain't even enough about all that stuff with us. Let's you was talking about the half hounds for your strike dogs. Is it half hound, half curs? Or
Well, I've got one dog that's half Catahoula, half Walker Hound, and then my other main strike dog is actually called Ruby. He's half Walker Hound, and then he's quarter English Pointer, quarter Bulldog.
oh,
So I don't know.
That sounds pretty
He
good.
goes back to, you ever heard of that coon hunter Timothy Ball?
yeah.
Okay, well, his dad was a Hickory Nut Harry son.
Yep. I got you. That's some good
Hickory Nut
stuff.
Harry blood. It's been pretty good blood. I've hunted the hunting dogs and the Hickory Nut Harry dogs. Back then, I was able to pick up a coon hound and put him over my catch dog and made him. And he just turned 4 in December. Man, he's pretty nice dog, Everybody's got a different gauge, and I enjoy hunting him anyway. He finds some bigs.
That's a good deal. Can you hear us good on your end?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect. Can you not hear me?
Well, we can hear you, but it's like it's breaking up. Are you on speakerphone or something?
Yeah, I am on.
Well, sometimes it gets on speakerphone, it'll break up. All right, go ahead. Oh Lord, I can't hear you at all.
Is that better?
There you go. Now I
Yeah.
got you.
Okay.
Yeah, that
All right,
sounds real
perfect.
good.
Man, you should have told me to take it off speakerphone. I just set it here on my bar top,
Look,
having a beer, and I just set it on the bar and talking away.
and ain't no big. I wish some people, their phones are fine. Like we never even know they're on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm going to say what 75%, Nate, probably.
Yeah. A pretty good bit of them you can tell.
Mhm.
And sometimes it'll work for part of the interview, and then I don't know, technology get weird, and their phones start breaking up.
It's something. But
As long as
anyway,
you can hear me now, we're golden.
yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you good now.
Perfect.
He's talking about that hairy blood. There was a guy that when I first started out hunting, he ran a line of dogs that was bred up like that. And he ran some full-blooded dogs. Basically, he got some reject coon dogs.
Right.
And he would use them as rig dogs. And now they were cold-nosed, slow-trailing dogs. And that's not really what we needed here. But you put them rascals on that rig, on that box, they'd go through there and throw that head up, and they'd bump 2 or 3 times. You stop. And you let him mill around. Either he'd get a track started, or if it was real hot, if he was really screaming, you could turn a younger dog loose or one of them cur dogs loose, and here they go. People.
That's
can
something that's
utilize
always
that
piqued
stuff.
me.
Do what?
That's always piqued my interest, having a rig dog like that. I
Really?
never really hunted rig style, but I did a little bit of it this last winter and had some luck with it, and I intend to do more of that next winter. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. I figure with the mules and stuff, you can cover a lot of ground.
In a typical hunt, we'll ride 7 to 12 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of just try and make a loop, and it's typical hunts 3-4 hours, and by that time the dog's got 15 or 20 miles, and the mule's got 7 to 12, and your butt's about sore anyway.
There you go. Is there that's something that Nate's been interested in is mules. He's been like, man, we need to get some mules and hunt. I've never hunted off mules. I've been around. I've been around mules,
awesome.
but I've never hunted off of them.
We'll be back after a quick break.
A quick thanks to supporters of the Dixie Doggers podcast: Southern Cross Cut Gear, UC Hunting Properties, Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company, Animal Housing Solutions, Boars N Broads, Ada Y Transport, Crockett Taxidermy and Processing.
It's awesome. You're covering country that most people don't walk across.
Mm-hmm.
You find a lot of sheds, a lot of deadheads, because most people just stick to the roads or the trails on their hunting leases or whatnot. Even on government land, you get to covering country that nobody else wants to walk through. Well, you're going to find a bunch of stuff. You can cover a lot of neat country off a mule, and it don't make no noise. You can hear the dogs barking a long ways away without having to kill a motor or whatever.
Oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. There's That's the only thing I'm kind of scared of. It makes so much sense. It's like,
Well, if you enjoy riding a mule and you enjoy the mules, well, there ain't nothing better than riding mules and hunting dogs at the same time.
yeah,
But if you don't enjoy riding, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. I've taken a few people that, man, I'd like to go. So I said, yeah, come on. I took a good buddy of mine, and he said, I'm good. Don't ever let me do that again. He said, that's scary as shit. He said, I ain't interested. I'll just hunt out of the ranger. I said, sounds good.
Hell.
It ain't for everybody. And I took I made a buddy here. He leased a building off of me, and he's from Canada. And I took him on a pig hunt the other day. It was the first time he's ever been on a pig hunt, and we rode muleback and everything. And you hear wind? We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so I got the shop door open. It's a little wind blowing.
No,
it ain't bad. Anyways, he'd never been pig hunting, never done anything like that. So I took him hunting, and we rode mules.
Mm-hmm.
And he's worked on big ranches out in Montana and Wyoming and this and that. And we get to going down this creek, and it's pretty steep going down off in this creek, and he's like, I don't know about all this. I said, just sit in the middle and lean back, dude. He's like, I don't know, Cody. I said, well, it's a long way back to the truck by yourself, or you can sit in the middle and lean back. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And he leaned back, and down we went, and he was just blown away what the mules can do. He ain't never seen it like that.
Man, that's what I've always heard too. It's like if you got good stock to work with, or good mules, whatever, that all you got to do is, like you said, you just sit there, and they'll
Just
take
sit
care
in the middle and lean back. That's all I told him. He said,
care of it,
You bet. They're pretty solid animals. I've got 3 that are finished good hunting riding mules, and I got one that I just picked up a few months ago. He's only 22 months old. I just started training him, doing groundwork and messing with his feet and throwing a saddle up on him and stuff. But it'll be another year before I get him going and riding. But I got 3 of them anyway I can filter through.
There you go. How long does that training process usually take? A year or so, you said?
So everybody kind of is different. What I like to do is I like to pick them up at 1.5 years, 2 years old. I like to spend a whole year with them doing groundwork, just getting kind of them used to me and me used to them, pick their feet up, throw the saddle up there, ground drive them some. And about the 3-year mark, I'm ready to really ride them, and really put miles on it. We'll go out to the river and just ride during the summers and take dogs and just trail ride before we even go on a hunt. Just get them used to the dogs running around and all that, because it's quite a lot going on, and they get spooky sometimes. The dog shoots out and they think it's an animal that's going to get them or whatever, and now it's spook. And typically in a hunting season, I can put a lot of miles on in a hunting season. I don't know, maybe 1.5 years, 2 years, I've put 1,000 miles on them.
Man.
And at that point, they're still going to act stubborn sometimes. They're just a mule. They're a little stubborn by nature. But in 1.5 years or so, I can have a pretty finished, solid hunting mule. If they got the right mindset, you can't make a mountain out of a molehill. There's been a few that I've tried to break that I said, this just ain't going to work.
Yeah.
There ain't no reason to get hurt and ride this junk. I got something good over there to mess with.
That's right. Because I've heard that from several about the mindset. You got to have a mule that has that mindset.
And they're born with it, really.
Mm-hmm.
A good mule is just born, and it's our job as the trainer or handler or whatever, just to get them used to different things and mess with them and put them in the mix. But they're just born with a certain mindset. And, I got one mule that she's 6 years old, and I can throw any one of my 3 kids up there that ranges from 8 to 4 and just turn them loose on her. She's safe. She's fine. But I got other ones that, I got to be riding them, or a man's got to be riding them, not a little kid. They'll take advantage of them.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to go hunting off mules, or you're in Texas and want to go hunting off mules, holler at me. We can go make a loop.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I definitely will.
I know this winter I'm going to try and go out with Chad Fryer and one of his buddies. I think we're going to just do some just general mule work, just like riding them, just kind of talk about care and stuff like that. Then I think he was talking about going and doing some logging.
Where's he out of?
I think
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I sure enjoy them. They've been a lot of fun to hunt with, and we take them to the mountains. We go mule deer hunting or elk hunting or something, and we try to go to the mountains once or twice a year, and they're sure fun to have up there as well.
So, with living where you live at, how bad is the heat there for the summertime on the hog hunt?
Oh, it's hot. this time of year, we're hovering 90s, starting to get into the 90s, mid 90s some days.
Mm-hmm.
When the heat really sets in August, late July, it could be 100 to 107, 108, pretty easily. Like one summer a few years ago, we had, I think it was 40 something days over 100 degrees in a row.
Oh man. Mm.
So I don't know. I don't really hunt much during the summer. I'm not an old man. I'm middle aged. I'm 39, but I don't really want to be out all night chasing dogs anymore. So I kind of wake up early in the morning.
There you go.
I'll go from 5 a.m., 5:45 somewhere there, hop up and try and go make a loop if the weather's right. But we really don't hunt much during the summer. We kind of stop hunting June, July, and August, and kind of hunt September through May is what we've been doing the last 6 years. Now, every once in a while, if a cold front blows in or something, we'll load them up and go during June or July or whatever. But it just, man, I don't know. It's kind of nice to have a break. We hunt pretty well every Saturday and every Sunday and try and hunt at least once during the week. And I don't know, June, July, and August just don't hunt a whole lot. Now, we'll get dogs started and go to the river and ride and take puppies along and stuff like that. But as far as really hunting, we don't do a whole lot in 3 months of summer.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guys do, you can still go. A lot of them hunt at night.
Yeah.
But
We
I don't know. I just don't really like hunting at night.
We hunt a lot during the summer, but like we're limited on the time of year that we can hunt. We actually have a season here.
Well, I heard that when you were talking to the Australian guy. It kind of blew me away.
Yeah, now we can during actual deer season, legally we can run dogs.
Yeah, like year round, legally we can.
Except for turkey
Okay,
season.
so what was the deal? There was a dog and knife season that was like June through something. I heard. I thought, Marc, that's crazy.
May.
Yeah, it starts
it's
May
from May
31st
till September.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Now that's your dog and knife only. Like you can't even have a sidearm with you.
Special nighttime.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's nighttime.
So like the rest of the year, you're not supposed to hunt hogs with dogs at night.
At night.
Okay.
Yeah, at night.
At
but
night.
you can
do it during the day. It's
with the
just
exception of spring.
Boy, they
turkey
got you kind of dialed back.
Man, we went from wide open, like zero rules and regulations. I probably said this 100 times, and it just goes to show you by guys like myself not paying attention to bills that are put in office, to laws that are being changes, to regulations and stuff. I wasn't paying attention. Then I was in the woods.
Sure.
And so luckily, and this is very, very very much luck, and knowing the right people, I guess. I had an official. He showed up and he told me, he was like, "Hey, I know you got some pigs." I was like, "Well, yeah." And he was like, "You got to get rid of them right now." I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Can't have any live hogs." I was like, "What?" That doesn't make any sense because see, the year before that, they made it to where we could not transport. We could still catch and bar, but we had to kick them loose on the same property they were caught on.
I see.
So we couldn't transport, and so that was really just kind of a kick right in the nut. So it was, it's like damn. And then
I'd say so.
The next year it was no live hogs of any kind whatsoever. Must be dispatched upon capture, whether it's a trap, a dog, or whatever.
I can kind of understand a little that, that because like there's certain ranches we get a hunt on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they knew we was barring hogs and turning them loose, we'd get asked not to come back real quick. They want them dead.
That's right. I mean, and we're the same way. Like, and I've always been like that. If it's a farm, or say here, it's like there's very few ranches where we're at. There's some, but most of them are smaller farms, just agriculture.
Right.
And those guys right there, when they make a call to us and says, "Hey, we got hogs," we're coming to kill them.
Oh, yeah.
We're coming to kill everything.
Bet. Yeah, that's just helping them out.
Yes,
you bet.
I've seen some of these people, and these are my friends, and have to replant. Well, it ain't but 100 acres, but when seed corn's $300 a sack, it starts adding up real quick.
It makes a difference.
They had to replant it 2 or 3 times, and so it's I understand the whole concept of it. But at the same time, it's like all our private property, we can't manage it for big hogs,
Right.
And I mean, it is what it is. You just got to play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
So we just make the best of it.
You bet. I understand that.
Now, so we went
It's
from
funny how there's just different laws amongst different states, and
yeah,
hell, ain't none of us that far apart from each other. You'd think it'd be pretty similar, but Texas is just about a free for all.
yeah.
That's what I like the hog hunting so much. There ain't a season. You can do it whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't no limit. Just a lot of draws to it. And
When did Mississippi
involve
slow down?
dogs and do what?
2 years ago. I was asking Nate, Mississippi, I think they shut theirs down 2 years ago. And up until then, we had Georgia, Mississippi, and Florida that surrounded us. And we was the only one that couldn't have a live hog.
Oh, that's silly.
Yeah, it definitely. But like I said, it is what it is. So we went from having all those real rough running catch dogs, hog stoppers. That's all we were doing was we stopping hogs and stacking them up.
Did y'all cast them on hogs in a field downwind?
No.
They were in the field, or y'all just free cast them, or how'd y'all hunt them?
We have very few fields that are big enough that we'll ever see hogs. Even farms where we live at, a big field is what, 40, 50 acres? Mm-hmm. That's a big field.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So, all our running catch dogs, I just put them on track just like any other strike dog.
Gotcha.
And I tried to keep them where they had a hotter nose, within a couple of hours. I didn't want nothing that was real cold, but I wound up having some that were. And, of course, they'd be a mile over yonder somewhere, hung on a damn hog. So,
right.
So me and Nate, mainly Nate, got to messing with some of these bay dogs that we have now. And so if we don't ever catch the hog, we don't have to kill it.
Well, that's true.
So if we go up there and they're baying and you call your dog, say, hey, I don't want you messing with that hog. Y'all go get in the truck. And the hog walks off. That's all I can do.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Hey, I forgot
playing by the rules you was given.
I forgot my gun at the truck, man.
Yeah.
You man, at night I can't have any guns,
at
and
night,
I'm too. I don't want to send a catch dog in there to get it cut up. I'm sorry.
Right.
Exactly. It's like
These coon dogs are baying a hog.
Yeah. So
they're trashy. They're trashy.
So however you gotta make it or say it, like it's just like. Because if it's a small pig, gonna catch it and probably kill it no matter what. Like, because most bay dogs are still pretty rough.
Yeah.
There's very few true bay dogs that are gonna sit there and bay a 5 or 10 pound pig. I've seen it, and they just get aggravated. I'd rather them kill anything under 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah, I'm with you. It don't hurt my feelings if they catch out on a small one.
Because they can usually kill them pretty quick. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're gonna sit here and like maul this thing for an hour. Like
the other night, it took a minute or less, and they knocked out. Several. What
there was a dozen, and we seen like 3.
Yeah. So. Well, we had all of them on camera, and there was between 10 and 13 that I could count of shoats and pigs. Small ones, anything under 30 pounds.
Right.
And then they came back on camera today, and I think there was 5 or 6. So it's like
wiped out a few of them.
Well, yeah, we had some guys come in, and they had some young dogs, and they had one dog they were just trying to get some reps in to see how he would do. That old dog rolled out, buddy. We knocked out 1, 2, 3, just bang, bang, bang. And but you could hear him squealing. You hear the first one was real high pitched squeal, and he's about 150 yards.
Right.
By the time we get there, that's over.
They maul them little ones pretty quick. Move on.
And so, before we made 100 yards, we were on the 3rd one, and he was back to us. So that's one reason.
But we try to take people on hunts as well. So if a client wants to come in, we don't want to be killing all of our big boars because we can't be barring pigs. So it's I don't really just rather let him go sometimes.
Oh, ain't no doubt. It's hard. It's hard for us to grow any real big hogs.
It's some people around here catch big pigs, but man, my whole life I've never put one on a scale that weighed over 300 pounds. And that's trapping, shooting them with a thermal and a rifle, dogging, any way you can get one. I've never, with my own eyes, seen one over 300 pounds. And I know people get them when they're out there, but man, it takes a lot of pig to get there, and we just don't catch any that are that big.
That's
the biggest boar this whole the last 8 months of hunting. The biggest boar is probably, I didn't weigh him, but if I had to guess him, it'd be 250 to 275.
Yeah.
We had maybe 3 or 4 of them that were in that range in the last 8 months. A lot of shoats, a lot of sows, a lot of smaller fighting boars, but just catching them big boys, I don't know. I guess there's a lot of people out that have thermal now that it used to not be out. And so I think, when you roll up to a group of pigs, well, nobody's going to pick out the smallest one.
Exactly.
Everybody's going to aim for that big one. And then so I don't know. I don't think they're getting as big around here as they once was, because there's a lot of people trapping and shooting and hunting. And
well,
I don't know.
it's more
In my
popular.
life, I'd sure like to catch one over 300, but it just ain't happened yet.
Well, I mean, it's got where it's popular. I mean, it really is. Used to, I mean, like you were talking about, like 2008, 9, and 10, back in them days, like it wasn't even cool to be a hog hunter, really. Not where we're from.
Yeah, it's definitely changed.
Yeah, man, it wasn't mainstream. I guess around that time is when it was starting to pick up, but I didn't know anybody else except the guys that I hunted with.
And I think social media changes,
yes,
who you connect with, and you say, oh, there is other people doing it out there, because around here, there's just not that many people that hog hunt with dogs. I mean, in this county, I pretty well name them all on one hand, maybe one hand and a little more of the other, but it just ain't that many. But years ago, there may only been one, maybe two that you know of.
That's right. And
everybody looks at the videos and go, man, that's cool. I got to do that. And I totally understand, because I was there, I saw videos on YouTube, or a buddy showed me pictures. I was like, dang, I got to do that. That's fun.
Yes. And that's so what was your first hunt? Who carried you and who got you started, and how'd that go?
My first hog hunt?
Yeah.
My dad worked
for your first real hog hunt, Cody, not the first one where y'all went to the strip club and stopped at the, you know what I mean? The real hunt now.
So I've always loved dogs. When I was a kid, I wanted hunting dogs worse than about anything. And my parents got me beagles because they were small and manageable, I guess. I don't know how they landed on a beagle for me, but they did. And I'd get in the Cabela's magazine, and I'd send off for rabbit scent. I'd make mock trails, and I'd take them down to the creek and let them run rabbits. And I think I only shot one. They circled it back to me, and I shot it as a kid. I was just hooked to dogs at that point, and then the first time I actually went hog hunting, this is probably 2009, a buddy and I, Jeff Zimmer, got into it, and man, we were just determined we were going to have hog dogs. Neither one of us had a whole lot of background with hog dogs, so we started from ground zero. We started with the junkiest, shittiest dogs you could imagine, and I bet we went 20, 25 times without catching a hog, and then finally we started catching a few hogs here and there. And I was just pretty well hooked. The problem was, I just graduated out of college, and I didn't have no money. Trying to get established at a job and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have no money to play. And Jeff's like, oh, yeah, we broke our tracking collar. We need a new tracking collar. Well, he was working oil field, so money wasn't a big problem for him. And he's like, well, just a couple $100, and I can't do it. Every time we go out, we're tearing $200 something up. We got a $200 bulldog kill the other day. I love it. But I started coon hunting because I could have one dog and it probably wasn't going to get killed. And so I started coon hunting with another friend, and we coon hunted pretty hard for probably 4 or 5 years. And then it eventually turned back to hog hunting. And now I got life's a little more established, I guess you could say. And I can afford to play a little better than I could 15 years ago.
There you go.
But yeah, Jeffrey and I, we worked damn hard for that first pig. I mean, it was like, I bet we went 20 or 25 times empty-handed. And you kind of just got to enjoy the dogs to go that many times and not get nothing.
I remember those days. I do. I really do.
It was a tough go. And finally we caught a pig, and I was like, man, that's the coolest thing ever. Oh, yeah. We didn't have four-wheelers side by side. We had nothing. Yeah. We was walking. We'd go out to the river on government land and walk 15 miles on our 2 feet and just be happy to be there, You
probably jumped the damn more hogs for the dogs than the dogs jumped. I know it was our case.
Probably so. I do remember going out to some government land, and we walked, probably 7 or 10 miles to the back of this bend, and we caught if he was 5 pounds, that's about it. And we caught that pig that day, and we were just so happy to catch one. It was that type of deal. And hell, now I guess I'm spoiled or have better dogs. I don't know, but hell, I kind of like to get blood on my knife every time I go hunting now. If I go 20 times not catching one, I'd be wanting to shoot everything and go get something else. I ain't had that struggle in a while. So, now I hunt with a guy named Cody Bridwell, and he's been hunting with a guy named Andy Munson for years, and they kind of had some good dogs going. And I started hunting with them guys. they're pretty good to hunt with. They had things going on.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. Who you hunt with and where you're hunting. I mean, that shit that can make the biggest difference.
Oh yeah, you bet. Like I can take my set of dogs that I know I can catch pigs with, and we'll go hunt a spot that I know is hard to hunt, and you may get one, you may get two, you may get three, but chances are it's not as good as that spot down by the river where we know we can go catch pigs. And I mean, even the same set of dogs, you go, damn, I guess it just ain't a pig here, and
yep.
You go to that spot, they're going to be there, and you go catch 5 or 6 or whatever. So man, location is a big deal. And that's why a lot of hog hunters, they want to have pecker measuring contests all the time. And I don't really get into all that, but everybody, my dog better, my dog. Well, it's hard to really compare that. I mean, it's just, there's too many variables.
The main variable,
my set of dogs that I know I can catch pigs with and go to an area that's tough and, maybe not do as well, or go to the area I know there's going to be hogs there because it's just the honey hole and go slam them. So you see differences just in the location you choose to go.
That like I said, that's about the biggest thing that I've noticed. And I guess in the past few years, a lot of stuff has changed my outlook on that because of traveling. Because used to, I was like, I've got a good set of dogs here, and I know I could do it here, but can I do it somewhere else? And so now that we've changed the whole style of dog over the past few years, so now it's like, okay, now I want to go everywhere and hunt every type of terrain that we can with the same with the same set of dogs, and just kind of see where we stand with them. They don't have to be the superstars at every single place, but they need to perform. And that's where we've come into some of the ones that we have right now. Once you get them on the road, usually that first day is kind of just, you're pissing in the wind. And then the next day they settle in.
Gotcha.
And they tend to do, we went down to South Texas. I said, they're not going to do it here. And
what part of South Texas did you go to?
Down below Hondo.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, you're down South Texas, all right.
And that one place we went to was below Pearsall.
Okay. Yeah, that's rough country down there. If it don't stick you, it's gonna poke you.
Yeah, it did. All of it did. Everything there. The water stabbed me. I mean, shit was ridiculous. And like we was talking about the heat, it was already like the what do you call it, the real field or whatever, was 106. And them boys was like, well, let's go hit some water tanks. I was like, holy shit, these dogs can fall out. But actually they held up. It's surprising. See, if you don't ever get off your ass and go do that, you never know what you got. And that's what I've come to terms with. It's like, man, these dogs really did pretty good there. So it's like those guys that are doing all these, pecker measuring contests, like you said, if they ain't leaving their backyard or their honey hole, then they don't need to even talk. Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't get into the online arguing with people and any of that type of stuff. I just, I enjoy hunting the dogs, and my whole philosophy on it is, A, are you having fun? If the answer is yes, then keep going. Or B, you're not having fun, so go find something else to do.
Yep.
Like if I'm not enjoying the dog, I'll call them. I don't want to hunt dogs that I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy looking at them. I don't enjoy their breeding. I just, I want to look at them and know that I like the way they're bred. And I'm getting to the point where I just want to hunt dogs that I've raised and started. I don't mind taking a dog at a young age and starting him and hunting a dog that didn't come from me. But when you breed the litter, you know what you know. You may know the dog's grandpa or great grandpa, and I don't know. I'm just getting to where I really enjoy only hunting dogs that I've bred or that I've started.
I can't blame you.
I don't know why that is. It just seems to be the older I get, the more I like that.
I think there's a good portion of hog hunters, maybe not just hog hunters, but dog hunters in general, that tend to get like that after they've had that 10, 15 years in it, or along the longevity part. They get to where it's like, okay, I know what these dogs are doing. I know what to look for. And I know if this dog has got a little quirk, his grandpa might have had the same quirk. I think that's where a lot of that comes in, because the more I mess with these cur dogs, that's the more I don't want none from nobody else. I only want what we got.
I get it. I read a book this winter. It got recommended to me from a dog breeder. It's called The Art of Breeding Better Dogs. The book was written in 1974 by a guy named Kyle Onstock. Well, I read through this book and I tried to pick and pull pieces, everything that maybe I could utilize for my own set of dogs, my own yard. And a lot of it's very scientific and hard to really grasp and comprehend it to the different level than most people talk. You know what I mean? It's real scientific based.
Yes.
But there's certain chapters that really talk about the phenotypical traits of the dog, the genotypical traits, what gets expressed through different ancestors, and don't hold me to the percentages, but when you breed a dog, you think 50% it gets from his mom, 50% from the dad, in all aspects, but that ain't true. They can pull traits from 7 or 8 generations back. It's wild.
Yes.
Trying to figure all that out, you read the book and go, damn, why am I even trying?
Yeah, it's and there's a lot of that stuff I've noticed, especially from the bulldog world. You would have a puppy, and it would be identical. I mean, almost a carbon, just a paper cookie cutter mold from its great grandpa. And you're like, man, this dog acts same size, same weight, same color. Everything is identical to a dog that was born 30 years before.
Genetics are really wild if you get to learning and reading about them and watching them. It's crazy.
Yes.
I've got one dog that I've had 4 litters of puppies out of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. You start seeing repetitive traits in each litter and going, okay, she's throwing this, or, this is lacking out of her. Every time I breed her to a different male, this is showing up. So I know this is her trait. Yeah. It's just wild. I don't know. It fascinates me. It always has. Dogs make a better dog. It's always fascinated me. And I don't know. My dogs probably ain't the best, but I enjoy them. I guess that's what matters.
That's all that matters. I tell people all the time, like, if you like it, I love it. I can't knock another man's dog.
In February, I drove all the way from North Texas to Florida. I went and picked up 2 Cane Corso females because there's a guy out there called, his name's Sam Diaz. Yeah. But he hunts these Cane Corsos in the swamps there in Florida, and he's the only person I could find in the whole United States that was actually hunting Cane Corsos and really utilizing them the way they ought to be utilized, a true working dog. And he's had great success with them, so I brought 2 of them home. Now, I don't know exactly how I plan to use them. I don't know if I'll use them as a lead-in catch dog or if I'll hunt them off the mules.
Is that Diamond Grit?
Diamond Grit, that's him.
Yeah.
But, man, I picked up these 2 females from them. They're about 6.5 months old now, and I really like them. I think they're going to be awesome. And I want to incorporate them into my existing line of catch dogs I've been playing with and maybe a little more size on them. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I've got options.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even mind raising and selling a few purebreds down the line if, the dogs prove themselves. And I think it's something I want to move forward with.
Yeah. Because those big dogs, we talked to a guy last night. He's got a podcast and does some social media stuff. It's Catch Dog Concepts.
I follow him on Instagram. Yep. I know who the guy is. I ain't never talked to him, but yeah, I got you.
He's a young guy. You'll never know that he's that young. He's 18. Why?
He don't look 18 in his pictures.
No, he looks 35.
He looks like a 35-year-old man.
Yes. When he told me he was 18 last night, I said, "What the hell, boy?" Anyway, he is studying all these mollusser type dogs and the history and how they came to be, and all these things. He doesn't even have dogs right this minute.
Well, he loves them. He's learning about them.
And that's what he said. He said, I've got 1 or 2 things in mind that I want to do. He said, so instead of just jumping the gun and saying, okay, I'm going to go buy these band dogs or these Borbles.
Right.
He started talking to other people, and that's what led into the podcast and all that. So he's putting out this good information. And I was like, man, I said, I really dig that kind of stuff, especially coming from somebody that's that young, that wants to learn. That's what we need. like you said, you looked all over the place to find some actual working Cane Corsos.
I mean, did. It was tough to find.
There's a lot of people that breed them, but
yeah. When I started making a few phone calls to them people,
yeah,
they're like, "You're gonna what?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna." And they said, "Yeah, we're not gonna sell you. We're not interested.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good day." I got hung up on or told, "Yeah, we're not interested in selling you any dogs."
I ran one for a friend of mine
6 or 7 times.
That's ridiculous that people would even, that's what those dogs are for. These are battle dogs.
I know.
So a buddy of mine had one. He was like, he said, can you mess with this dog? What was that a price? No, it was a Corso. He said, can you run this dog and just see how she does for me? He said, I'm busy this weekend. He said, and I got to get it done. I said, yeah, he had a little practice pen. It's been years ago, a little training pen. And we turned that dog loose. We turned a couple other dogs loose. They went out there and found a hog. Hog was about 125 pounds. Well, this dog picks this hog up, grabs it right on the back of the neck, and just picks this son of a bitch up, just turns around and looks like, what do you want to do with it, boss? I was like, yeah, she's going to work, bud. Like,
she gets it.
She's going to work. And then we turned her loose just to run around. She went out there and found her own hog.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big hog, or found her own pig. I said, man, I'm really digging this big dog. Like, I really do.
There's been a few of the Cane Corsos and the Presicanaros that I've seen that I really like.
They really,
oh man, those look nice.
They really shine. I'd pick them over.
They're just so impressive. They're just so, I've never seen one of them I really like personally. I know a guy here in Texas, a couple hours away from me. He's got a dojo that's pretty jam up. He catches a lot of pigs behind him, but I ain't never seen one that I've been like, yeah, I need to take that home. You know what I mean?
Yes. There's been a few people that I've talked to that they run them the correct way. Like, they run them in a pack of dogs. And that's the only way you're going to get anything out of them. And I know there's guys out there right now, they've got the baddest catch dog in the world. That's a Dogo Argentina.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna sway them or change their mind. And that's great. You love it and it works for you. That's all that matters. But as a whole breed, they really fail as a straight catch dog for what we all do.
I've kind of always felt the same way. And man, these Cane Corsos I'm fiddling with, they may be the same way. I don't know yet. Yeah. I went to the man that was hunting them and running them and doing kind of what I want to do with them. And so I feel like I gave myself the best chance to end up with, good ones that I could. Because the dog's mother that he has, man, he's had her on piles of pigs, and she straight up catches and does the job. So I don't know if they don't work. That's just the way it is. But I'm gonna try anyway.
Well, like you said, what did you say a while ago? You said I went to Florida and got these, and I was like,
I did.
It's from Diamond Grit. That tells you, like, I know who he is. I know who it is. I know the name. I've seen the dogs work. You know why? Because there ain't nobody else doing those. Very few.
No, there really ain't. And I don't know. I couldn't find anybody.
If they are
running them and using them. Yeah, exactly.
If they are, if somebody's out there, if you're, and I don't mean like you went and bought one. I mean like if you're raising them and breeding them, or even if you did go buy one and you've got a few years experience running them and hunting them and working them, holler at us and let us know. Get with Cody and talk with him about it. Let him know what you like and what you don't like.
That's right. Like when I called Sam, I tell him kind of what I wanted to do and this and that, and he's like, "Man, that's awesome." He said, "I'd love for you to have some of these puppies." Like I don't get enough people that call me that want to use them for hog hunting that I really would like. Yeah. They're just people just aren't out there using them, and I get it. They're kind of an oddball breed. They're not an American pit bull, and I don't think they take the place of the American pit bull. But if they can go out and catch a pig, and I enjoy looking at them, well, I'll try and use them, and I'll breed with them and play with them. But the American pit bull terrier, that's about as hard a dog as there is out there. Game dogs that are just they're you're not going to replace them with something else. They hold their own.
Yeah,
I like them too. But I don't know. I just thought I'd try something new.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing else.
Just fiddling around. Just a science experiment for rednecks,
Yeah. Well, listen, that's our whole deal. That for me forever. If it was two different breeds of dog, I was fixing to cross them. I don't give a damn what they was. I was like, let's cross them. And I I got all that stuff from Aaron Schenkel, and they probably might not want me to say their names ever, but as Aaron Schenkel and Clay Austin, they were like, we're going to cross them. And we had some of the weirdest looking dogs from time to time, but I promise you, like we knew what was going to work and what wasn't going to work.
Sure.
But we had a good team. We had a good team is what I like to tell everybody too. It's because like, say if you had a litter of pups, you said, okay, Joey, I need you to take 2. I need Nate to take 2, and I need Rodney to take 2, and I'm going to keep 2. And we're all going to hunt them at different places. You're going to use yours for a walk-in catch dog. I'm going to use mine for running catch dogs. We're going to see if they'll take a track and run, whatever. We utilized it and we spread it all around. Then after that, we were like, okay, we want to keep these 4. And out of those 4, that's where we would start breeding and crossing to other stuff and then see where we come out. It's easier to do when you got a group like that.
Well, and that's kind of like I was saying with Kyle Nip and Cody. Everybody's got, I don't know what Kyle's got on his yard right now, 10, 15 dogs. I got 12, 13. Mm-hmm. Cody's probably got 6, 7, 8. I don't know exactly what he's got. I mean, between us 3 and Dawson, he's got a handful of dogs. We kind of all just breed back and forth. And hey, you take a puppy, you take a puppy. I don't sell any of my hog dog puppies. I give them to hunting homes, and I'm happy to give them. And I just tell people if you like them, great. If not, just give them back, or we'll decide what we're going to do. But you got to have a network of guys you're trying to build with, because one man trying to do it, like you said, you look down and you got 60 dogs and your feed bill's, $900 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever.
A couple thousand.
It's easier. Yeah, it's easier when you got a handful of guys and you can all kind of work together towards a common goal and breed back and forth and cross them up. And, it's easier when you got a bunch of people in your corner.
And another thing on that part is it's easier to work the dogs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day. I mean,
yeah. Like I could,
when you got 3 or 4 groups hunting them, you can get a whole lot more accomplished than one man can in a week.
And
you really see what they're doing.
For a long time, I was worried about the hog dog world. I was like, man, this is going the wrong way. Social media had got crunk up pretty good, and everybody was wanting to show the blood and guts. And I was like, man, they're just showing all the wrong stuff. And now it's kind of, to me, it seems like it's kind of settled down. It's more accepted. There's more people doing it. And there's a lot of young guys that are doing it the right way. And at first I was like, man, some of these young guys are messing up. Some of them are networking better than us older guys.
Yeah.
And it's not all of them, but some of them. And those are the ones that, that's where our future's going. And so, when that comes along, I'm trying to send them a pup. I'm trying to send them a dog.
Sure. You bet.
Because they're going to hunt it. They're young and they want to hunt. They're full of piss and vinegar. They're going to hunt 5 days a week. Like shit, put that puppy in the woods.
You bet. Let's see what it can do.
Yeah. But you still got to be careful with that, because I sent a real good pup out a couple months ago, and that boy, he didn't do nothing with it, and he wound up dumping the dog out somewhere. And I got the siblings right here, and I carried him out there to Georgia, that baying out there, and they literally were probably I know they were the best pups there as far as just sitting there baying. And, sometimes people make stupid mistakes and stupid decisions, but I won't never send them another dog,
Well, yeah, I understand that. That's one thing you just mentioned, the bayings. That's one thing. I've never been to a hog baying in my whole life. I tried as hard as I could to get up to Mud Creek this last time, because that's only about 45 minutes from my house. Something
Shame
like
on
that.
you.
Well, I know, man. Somebody had to go catch the hogs in North Texas that morning.
Yeah, they was out running around everywhere, wasn't they?
That morning, and Ricky Loftus and Dawson both went up there, and Ricky had a camper. I was supposed to go up there and drink beer and hang out with them.
They stayed right beside us.
Yeah, I was supposed to go and hang out with them guys. I just wanted to go up there and meet people and hang out and be amongst like-minded folks, But maybe next year, I can't remember what it was. I got home and I had something I had to do. When I got home that afternoon, and the wife's like, "You ain't running off to go there all night." I said, "Okay, well, hey, you let me hunt pretty much whatever I want. I can't argue with you too much."
Yeah.
That Mud Creek deal, that ain't far from my house. I'd sure like to go up there and do that. Yeah, I live where was that? That was up by Wilson, wasn't it?
It's in Ringling.
Okay, well, that ain't far.
So
Ringling's probably 45 minutes away.
What's the bigger city it's close to? Is it Ada?
Ringling, you got Wilson, Lone Grove, Ardmore.
Ardmore. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Ada. It's Ardmore. That's where we got a motel there last year, year before last, the first time. And this past
Ardmore,
time,
that ain't far.
yeah, this past time we stayed right there at the house. Well, a damn tornado hit Rusty's place right there. I mean, tore his dog pens to pieces. His house. He lost everything right there, man.
Hey, that tornado that went through there leveled all kinds of businesses. And, I mean, that was a bad deal, real bad deal.
I think he's got his dog kennels about done now. He built him a real nice set. And of course, messing with damn insurance and all that stuff. They still ain't got their house. I think he's just gonna build him a new one.
So I've never met him. I've heard his name, around, but I've never met him. But I'll do it next year. I'm gonna get to that hog bed. I just got to.
Well, you got to call him over and over and over because he will not answer the phone.
Don't be lying on Rusty.
Yeah, that's Rusty. Make sure.
I'll see it on Facebook or Instagram.
Rusty, I'll send you his number private. Now, listen. He's as solid as it gets, and I'm just giving him shit because Rusty calls me, and I'm the one that don't answer the phone, so I just lay it off on him all the time. And but he's a good friend, and like he's solid. There's no doubt. He's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I ain't never heard a negative word about the man. I just know he puts on that band, and gosh dang, it's the closest one to my house, so you think I'd find the time to get there.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, he hunts. That son of a gun hunts. He runs the dogs.
You gotta run them if you want to make a dog.
Yeah, he's got some nice cur dogs, some hard casting, some pretty deep casting cur dogs. But he hunts. I think he got.
Where does he live at again?
Right there in on Mud Creek in Ringling, right there, right outside.
Okay, gotcha.
Ringling. So it ain't far from you. Y'all might need to.
No, it really ain't.
Get together and go turn them loose or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I've never met him. Don't know him.
We had a good time up there though. It's always we've been. How many times we've been up there to Rusty's? 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Now y'all go to several of them a year. I mean, y'all make pretty well all of them, don't you?
We try to. This year we hadn't got to make all of them. We've only went to a couple. We just been busy, like you said. Sometimes you just got things going and you just can't break loose.
Yep.
That's life.
We did almost 2 full years where we made every band. I mean,
how many is that a year? You think?
That 1 year, I said I'm going to go to every one they have. And I went to, let's see, Hickory Crossings was 2 times that year. We went to Broughton Island. We went to Tyler, Texas twice. We went to
Boars Nest. Heard that one.
Yeah, we went to that one twice. We went to Nixon. We went to Downsville twice that year. No, all 3 times that year.
Boy, that's quite a few trips in a year.
We went to Uncle Earl's. Then we went to Rusty's.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 11 or 12 events that we went to. There was one period that was, I think, over 5 weeks. I was home no more than one day a week.
Oh man.
I would come home. When I say one day, like I'd get home that night, or up that morning. I'd be there all day, and then the next morning I was leaving. Like that.
Dang, you hooked up.
I don't remember how many, 70-something thousand miles on that truck in 8 months.
Oh, my Atlanta.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
You're buggying down the highway.
Well, I mean, I leave from here, drive to Louisiana, drive back to the house, leave from the house, go to the other side of Georgia, come back to the house, leave from there, go to Oklahoma, come back to the house, then leave the next day and then drive to Nixon, Texas, which is 14 hours one way. Ringling's 13 hours one way. Then the Boars Nest a couple of times. It didn't take long. Like, it just did not take long to add up, Nick. And I'll be honest with you, I think it just about burnt me out there for a little while.
Yeah.
I can imagine so.
It was rough.
I drank a lot of beer. God almighty.
That'll happen.
But we had
that's the main reason I want to go to one of them. I truth be told, I think I'd be the laughing stock of the event throwing any of my dogs in the pen, but I just want to go hang out and meet new people, and the camaraderie of it's what I want to go for.
That's why we go.
Oh, yeah.
And with
See the value in that.
yeah, we get to meet so many people, and like you talking about Ricky Loftus. I talk to Ricky all the time now. Before that, it was just on Instagram. Hey, how you doing, or just whatever on a post or some shit. Now it's like, hey, what's happening?
You just feel a lot better after you shake another man's hand.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, him and we got to know each other pretty good in the last year. We hunted a handful of times here and there, and he's a good dude. He just lives, probably 45 minutes away, 35, 45 minutes away from me.
Oh, okay, I got you.
From each other. Him and I and Dawson and Cody Bredwell all live, even Kyle. Everybody lives within about 30, 45 minutes of me or less.
Man, I there's hardly anybody that we really hunt with a lot that lives close to us. There's some local guys that hunt, and every now and then we'll one of them hunt with us, or we'll get to hunt with them. But it's very seldom because we travel so much.
Right. See, I kind of just hunt around here. Like, if I drive further than 45 minutes to go hog hunting, it's probably a dual purpose trip.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of land around here to go hunt on. If you pack up with the right people, it just seems like there's plenty hunting. It's like, well, I drive 4 hours to go hit pig hunt if you can drive 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever.
Yep.
So we just hunt local. Like you talked earlier about man needs to cover ground and figure out what his dogs can do. There ain't no reason to go nowhere early,
No, and that's the thing. That's another thing. You're not on there, stretching your nuts out saying, "Hey, look at this. This is what my dogs do." Blah blah blah.
Man, I don't
you're
like
happy.
all that.
That's what I'm saying. You're happy doing what you're doing.
We want the best hog dogs you can make, and we think the only way that you could claim to have the best is to take them to all these places and they excel.
But I don't ever claim to have the best.
No,
I just
I just want to make the best.
I listened to maybe it was you guys' podcast. I can't remember, but Cody King, he said, how can you know if you got the best dogs if you don't hunt everywhere?
Yeah.
He took his dogs to Africa, I guess, and South America, and he's hunted all over. And if you just hunt right behind your house, well, you really don't know what you got on a worldwide level. You just know what you got right there at the house.
That's right. And like I said, one of the reasons that we started doing it, we do this podcast, and we're kind of out there in the public eye a lot more than we ever were used to. I mean, I've been doing this a long, long time, and I never talked to hardly anybody. Nobody ever got a dog from me. You would never. I ain't getting rid of no damn dogs.
I've made Joey Wright put on a lot of gray hair this year from moving dogs. It's like, look, Dad, we need to place these puppies with these people. He's like, I don't know. Like, can we just? I was like, look, we're going to do half the litter. He's like, you're going to get rid of half of them?
I'd have an emotional meltdown. And I've gotten better because
What's the point of having them if you're not going to keep them and see what you got?
Yeah, well, I've got 40 of them though. That's the problem. Yeah. But see, I don't see it's a damn problem. I'm just like, we just need to hunt more.
And I'm like, no,
we just need to hunt more. That's all it is. Like right now, the camera's going off, and we're cheating. Like we got puppy trainers right up there right now eating corn, little corn thieving bastards. I could take these little brindle bastards up there and turn them loose and let them bay a hog. And Nate's like, no, we can't do that. See, he's holding me back.
Oh, yeah.
You got to put them reins on me.
We got to let him.
When it's time to go, it's time to go.
See, you better be glad you don't live 45 minutes from me, Cody. By God, we'd be gone getting them some bitches right now. We'd be knee deep in their asses.
That's right. All the places we hunt, I got some buddies that have some game cams out there. I don't have a single game cam out. Hell, it's kind of like, well, Saturday morning, hell or high water, whether it's been any pigs there or not, we're going to go.
Yeah.
So we're going Saturday and Sunday morning, and I might try and sneak off once during the week if I have time. And
y'all got a good population of pigs where you live at, though?
Along the river, yes.
Yeah.
Like where I live, my house is probably, if you go straight north, I'm probably 20, 30 miles from the river. But if you jag northeast, I'm only 5 miles from the river because there's a big bend.
Yeah.
So if I go 5 miles northeast, I can find pigs. Anywhere around my house where I live on a creek, but there ain't hardly no pigs here yet. But eventually there will be. If I go west 5 miles, I can find pigs. East 10 miles, you can find pigs. North 10 miles, you can find pigs. But anywhere on the river, is pretty good.
I'm gonna be honest
The
with you.
pigs like that river.
If we could go 10 miles or less, or if we could go 20 miles or less,
I can
I-
because
I
I,
would-
moved closer to the pigs.
yeah, I think say Nathan moved closer to the pigs, but if I could, and I will say one thing, they're within 30 or 40 miles now.
I think the closest
They're probably
pigs.
So
closer.
you don't
10.
think you could leave your house and find a pig for 40 miles?
No, what's within 20, 25?
Yeah, he lives about
Oh, wow.
12 miles more north
Yeah.
than me, and the
You
pigs,
know,
are, the
I
pigs
don't-
about 10 miles south, maybe 5 miles. Like they're just very sparse. But
Yeah,
like,
they're just
to
little
get in them,
pockets.
get them consistently, it'd take 10 miles probably.
Well,
It'd
you
be longer
think-
than that. It'd be Chestnut Ridge
Like with,
That's 10 miles
from here.
as the crow flies from my house.
I was going to say from your house, but from
Yeah.
here it's like 18 or 20.
Yeah, it should be like 22.
Yeah.
you know, I listened to the Austin K podcast.
Yeah.
Joe did.
Yeah.
This sounds like that dude can just kind of throw a dart off his back porch in just any direction about hit one. We ain't got it that good.
Yeah. They,
We ain't got it that good, but we got a pretty good population, especially when you get on the river. You can about go anywhere on that Red River and find you a pig to run.
hell yeah. And now I'm going to be honest. We learned some stuff like when we were in Texas that there's a lot of pigs there. Okay. There's a lot.
A lot of pig hunters.
And them some bitches run too. They run there just like they do anywhere else. They are hard to track.
Oh, yes.
When that,
Oh, yes. We went Saturday morning and, man, they had this pig bait 50 yards from us. We were riding a tree line and we get a pig bait up. It bait for 20 seconds. Both catch dogs kind of go in there. Well, somehow or other, it was thick, briars. I don't know. They never made it there and got caught. We were in that damn pig ground for 45 minutes, you know, upwards of over a mile and a half. And hell, he started boogieing over and he's going to go on a golf course. And we telling the dogs off to come home. It's like we didn't catch one.
yeah.
But we found one to run anyway, you know.
Yeah. Like
You can't catch them all.
No, we got on a couple, and that I got a running walker that Rick dog, white boy Rick. He done pretty good. The first day, man, he got real hot real fast. I was like, man, he ain't gonna make this shit. Well, we set him up, let him cool down, just let him rest. Carried him out late the next evening. Man, he fell in there like he'd been doing it, like he was born and raised there.
Nice.
And it really was. But now some of the other dogs, they had, because the humidity left. It was 40% humidity that first day. And then by that night, it was only 10% humidity.
Makes a difference.
So like where we're at, 40% humidity is nothing. We ain't got no humidity then. I was showing Casey and them. I was like, look, this is the difference. So we showed the humidity at our house, and it was 76%.
when we got home,
Oh,
it
wow.
was 100% humidity.
Yep.
At like 1 a.m.
100%.
Yeah, at 1 a.m.
It's at 100%.
But it wasn't raining.
No, it's just like you're basically in a fog cloud. It feels
Yep.
like.
That's how, and that's what he was like. He's like, man, with all that moisture, dogs will be able to run better. Well, sometimes it's too much moisture and it holds that scent.
Yeah.
Depends on what time the track was made, whether the moisture gets up under the scent and holds the scent up high. There's so many variables in it. Like you said, going out there to that drier ground, our dogs, they were not used to that.
Nah, the scent.
I'd say from Georgia. You're Georgia, right?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
From Alabama to South Texas, boy,
Yeah.
everything's changing from there. I mean, even from where I'm at in Texas, going down there, man, you entered a whole other world.
Yes.
It's like putting the dogs on Mars.
It really was. And like I said, once they kind of settled in, they did okay. They weren't, I'm not going to say they were the greatest by no means, but we were finding pigs and baying pigs.
Right.
And so that I was happy with that. The catch dogs, the running catch dogs we had, one of them is still down there. I left him because he worked really good. His heat tolerance and recovery was amazing. But we don't know because we've never had him in that situation.
Sure.
And so it was like, Case kept him and he's hunting him right now. He's just letting him just kill everything on the farm,
Sounds like you got him a good hunting home.
That son of a gun hunts every day, pretty much.
Every day. Boy, that's asking a lot out of a dog and a man.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to hunt every day.
Well, he sends me a video or a picture. Pretty much it might.
I think
but
he
now
killed 2
he's not
coons.
running just hogs every day.
Yeah.
Like he's managing these big ranches, and so
okay.
he might be
Gotcha.
killing coons or anything. You don't ever know.
I think he had him retrieving
Gotcha.
ducks the other day.
Yeah, he's retrieving, and he treated them. He treated coons.
Who's the guy that's got him?
Case Frida, he's got him.
Case Raider.
No, Case Frida.
Case Frida. I don't guess I know him.
Well, he's down there right by Austin K and them. Actually, him and Austin, they were all on the same team that hunted in the
okay.
tournaments.
I got you. I just stumbled across Austin Case profile, and he's a hog hunter, and followed him, but I don't know the other guy.
Case, I don't think he's hardly got any kind of social media really. Well, he does, but he stays in the bush.
Gotcha.
He's in the outback all the time.
Well, that's what it takes to put them dogs to work and make a good one. That's for sure.
He's I don't know. He's kind of challenged when it comes to people.
I see.
If you understand what I'm saying.
I also.
Yeah, he likes the woods. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me, he said, Nathan, the only issue I have with you is I wish you talked more. I was like, well, you're going to have to tell me what you want to talk about because I don't do it just to fucking hear myself talk. I'm going to be honest. I was like, I'm not one of the. I said, we could sit here. We don't have to say anything. I was like, if you want to talk, you're going to have to be like, hey, what about this?
Say this now.
Yeah. You're gonna have to ask me a question. Otherwise, I'm not. I get it. Just not people inclined at times.
So, how many hogs do y'all catch a year? You're on that. Just say an average. 100,
well, 110 to 140 probably over the last 6 years average.
Pretty damn good.
That's good.
Dog. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we don't really hunt June, July, and August. Kind of just lay low, let the dogs kind of recuperate. And hell, I don't want to hunt in the heat really, and Bridwell don't want to hunt in the heat. And I don't know. We kind of just lay up 3 months, but like this year, I just put my tally on. I put a post on Instagram. I think it was 137 this year, and that's from say mid-September till end of May, I guess is what it was. I think 137 is what we caught this year. I mean, it's not an outstanding amount, but for a couple weekend warriors, it ain't too bad.
No, that's
the first
extremely
few months of
consistent.
that was a pretty tough first 3 or 4 months. With deer season, a lot of the ranches we get a hunt on are off limits, so you're limited to government land, and hell, you're competing with everybody out of the metroplex that's running up to the river, and it gets to be a kind of a shit show, really. And we was running way behind when deer season ended. I said, damn, our average ain't gonna be very good this year. We're running way behind. Hell, somehow or another, we just got on them and started catching them, I guess. That's
pretty damn good. This year
I wish I could hunt 5 days a week. It'd be a lot better. It ain't feasible. Just ain't gonna happen.
We don't hunt, but on the weekends most of the time. I mean, like now, unless we go somewhere, if we're traveling, then we're gonna hunt all we can. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 days, or it might be every day.
Yeah, it seems like there's some weeks we hunt like 1 day a week, and then other weeks where it's like 3 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Most people that kind of stay halfway active hunting, if you're in an area where there's pigs, you can catch that many or better. I mean, there's people out there that probably catch a whole lot more than that. If they hunt more or have better dogs, I don't know. Just kind of seems to be our average and weekend warrior type deal.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty good. Like I said, for a long time, for quite a few years, I would always say, like, if we catch 100, we're doing good. I think we're doing real good because we don't have
I feel about the same way.
We didn't have a lot of pigs, and then I got to talking to to other hunters in our areas, and they were like, well, "Man, we only catch 30 to 50," and I was like, "Oh shit, we're doing a lot better than I thought." And then once we started traveling, we had a year. I think it was 2023, wasn't it? And we stopped counting at like 280 something.
Man, that's a hell of a year. Now, I mean, that takes a lot of woods time to get that number. I know what it takes. That's a lot,
The first weekend that we went with Carter and Ryan and them. That was one of the first trips we ever hunted with them. We caught 30-something head.
That's outstanding.
I think it was January. By our third hunt, we'd already had 80-something.
How does it get much better than that?
It doesn't. It does not. Like, I've never had it any better than that. It seemed like we could not catch a hog. Like, I mean.
So what's the most pigs you caught on a single day's hunt?
Here in Alabama, it was that same year. Nathan was at school. Me and Rodney and Joe, we put our hands on 21 in 4.5 hours.
My God, that's outstanding.
Now, listen, there's been 6 months go by that I've not caught 21. You know what I mean?
That's just flat out outstanding.
We didn't leave a 400-acre spot. It was hog.
Wow.
The biggest teeth I've ever caught was that same night. Then we hunted a tournament, the Alabama Dog Hunter Association tournament. We went down there and we caught 10 that one morning. And there was 4 of them that was between 180 and 215. And everything had 2.5 to 3.5 inch teeth.
Oh, yeah, it was just a good day.
Well, that's a big day right there.
Man, it was
just cheesing, just walking
it
around
was every
grinning.
weekend though. Like, it wasn't a good. It was every damn weekend like that.
Oh, yeah, there was at one point in time where if we caught 5 hogs for like the whole day, we hunted like 6-8 hours. We was like, well, that's okay.
It's slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were complaining.
It's easy to get. It's easy to get spoiled. It really is. It's easy to go, wow, that was good.
We had a great spot. Some thermal hunters moved in, and that went to shit. And when I say
they
that,
put a whooping on a place real quick, don't they?
well, I'll be honest with you, they weren't knocking the population down, but they were there 5 days a week minimum, just riding the pressure. So all the hogs moved directly on the river onto public land, and we cannot run hog dogs on management areas. And this was managed. Now, there's some public lands we can, but you can't on the management area. And this was all management, and it had us in a bind.
I'd say so.
And like I said, it was to the point that was our little honey hole. I could say, well, if they're not right here, all we got to do is go a mile down the road on the opposite side of the road, and we'll get on them. And like I made probably 8 or 10 young dogs right there in just a month or two.
Wow.
And now it's that place. I ain't even been down there this year. Like, really. Because last year it got so bad. I think we made 3 trips and never even got on a pig. And that was just unheard of. But that's what that pressure does to it.
Yeah. I know, we start even noticing too, you go hunt a place after deer season, ain't been hunted since last year. Well, I mean, you may go catch 6, 7, 8 hogs your first couple trips, a time.
Yeah.
But then as you hunt it 3 or 4 months, every other weekend or every third weekend or whatever you do, boy, they start getting a little scarcer. It ain't never as good as it is that first couple trips out.
Amen. And
they scatter like cockroaches and go somewhere else.
So do y'all, that sounds like y'all hunt a lot like the schedule like we do. I try not to run our spot over and over.
Oh, we don't either. We've got, during deer season, we're kind of limited to government land because deer hunting's just about a religion up here, and people take it way too serious for my liking. But everybody's got to have their time in the woods and do what they want to do. I get it. So I ain't mad at them for enjoying deer hunting. I just don't know why anybody'd like it when you can go run hog dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to each their own, and so that the deer hunters get their season. Like, we don't even drop dogs on private land until, I guess, class 3 MLD. I think it was end of February, some spots like March, till we could get to them. And then mid-January that ain't on class 3 MLD, you can get to mid-January. And I mean, as soon as we're able to get off that government land, it gets hammered by everybody around and go to some of them private places. Boy, the numbers just spike. You got to earn it on the public land because you got a lot of competition. There's guys from Oklahoma that come down and hunt. All the North Texas guys go there and hunt. You got deer hunters, you got turkey hunters, squirrel hunters. I mean, it's just, you can't go out to public land and not run into people. I mean, it's just the way it is. So it's tough. Then you get on that private land and, boy, it sure is nice. And you try not to burn it up. You wouldn't want to go hit the same spot 4 weekends in a row. So we try and rotate them and keep them somewhat fresh.
I got you. Now, here where we live at, there's there's a big deal about baiting. Putting corn out or soybeans
Right.
or whatever. Do you guys bait for your hogs in any areas?
No.
Or y'all just hunt? Okay.
No, I've tried putting some Jello packets out on some government land.
Yeah.
Just so I ain't got to fill a feeder and mess with all that. But turns out there's enough deer hunters out there that
Yes.
can run feeders and do. We kind of just know where those are, and we might just cruise by them.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you ain't got to haul corn, and you ain't got to do the work, but just get next to them. And even when we get on the private stuff, almost everybody's deer feeders are still running. We know where they are, so we'll just cruise on by it and see if we can't find some welfare pigs.
That's right.
But as far as me putting corn out and spending my money and all that, no, I don't.
I don't blame you. We've got a couple spots.
I don't mess with it.
If
I thought it would bring something to the table, I would. But most places there's already a deer feeder on the property anyway.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like it used to be. I know 10 years ago here, if I shook a bag of corn, I was going to have some shoats come in at least.
Right.
And now it's like I can put 200 pounds of corn out, soured corn, Kool-Aid in it, sugar, whatever. And it might be a couple of nights go by, nothing, even look at it. And then it might be 2 weeks. Hell, the last time I baited up, the damn corn had fermented and was done sprouted, done malted.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Where'd the pigs go?
Exactly. Well, and boys riding up and down the road with them thermals where we live at, they just keep the pressure on them, which I'll be honest with you, it's not a real bad thing because it keeps the pigs off the side of the roads, and you got to have a dog that'll get out there and find them. So it's not a bad overall deal. The only bad deal is, like you said a while ago, of course, they're not going to shoot a shoat when they got a 300-pounder in the field.
Nope, everybody gravitates toward the biggest pig. I used to do a whole bunch of thermal hunting, so I can't hate on them guys because it is a lot of fun. And I'm saying same thing. I enjoy hunting of any kind, really.
Yeah.
Just but yeah, nobody shoots the smallest one. They just don't.
No. Which I wouldn't either. If that's what I was
doing. Just human nature.
Sure, and
you can go to that bigger one.
And it took me a long time, even after running dogs for a lot of years, to be like, you know what? I'm not going to catch big hogs if I don't let them get big, And
right.
Of course, there's a lot of challenges in the way of that if you have to share your property. Like the public land you guys hunt, my hat's off to you. I've always kind of been like, man, I wish we had it. But at the same time, I'm glad we don't because I don't want to have to fight with everybody.
Well, but I'm very thankful we do have it because at least you can go get in the woods. You can go hunt. You're going to have to deal with some BS. You're going to have to deal with people talking trash and calling the game warden. Like we got the game warden called on us twice this last year. He shows up. Hey, what are you boys doing? Oh, we're pig hunting. Hey, you got your license? Yes, sir, sure do. Got your hunter's education? Yes, sir, sure do. Show them everything. So, man, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good day. We just had to come check. People call because they say, you can't be in the woods with deer season. Well, yeah, we can. We know the law. Everything we do, we try the best we can do to be on the right side of the law and be straight.
Yes.
That way, when that situation does occur, we can look the game warden in the eyes and say we paid our license, we did our hunter's education, our dogs are wearing tracking collars, our numbers are on. We've done everything we can do to cover all legal bases, and we're even trying to be courteous to these people. And if we run past somebody and they're sitting in a deer stand, well, I don't holler and hoop and holler. I just wave at them kind of and move on and get out of their way. I ain't trying to cause no problems. Exactly. But some people just, you just pissed them off greatly by riding through their area. And what's so funny, it's just hilarious. I got a couple buddies that are just big deer hunters. Wouldn't allow a dog on the property for nothing. One of the best places that we pig hunt in the last 6-7 years, another buddy of mine, his family owns that ranch, and he deer hunts it, and he shot 2 deer that go over 210 inches in the last 3 years. And he's my poster boy for running hog dogs, does not interfere with the whitetail population at all because, some people just get that in their mind and they can't look past it. And my buddy, Nathan Martin, he's a hell of a bow hunter and he loves it, but he pig hunts with us, after deer season's up and we hunt their place and we catch a bunch of pigs. He shoots high quality, nice deer and everybody can win. But, not everybody wants to hear that or see that. They just think if you're hog hunting on a property, it's ruined for deer hunting. That just ain't the way it is.
No, not at all. I couldn't tell you how many times. Like we had some guys that wanted to get in on the place that we leased, and all they do is run beagles, rabbit dogs. These guys are only running them. They're not even carrying a shotgun. Like they're just letting their pups run. And so deer season comes along, and he's like, "Well, man, I know we're probably going to be shut down." I was like, well, "Who's going to shut you down?" He was like, "I figured y'all would." I was like, "No, just let us know when you're going to be running beagles." And there was a couple of older gentlemen with him. They just kind of smiled. I was like, "Just let us know." He called and he said, "Hey, we're going to run in the morning." I said, "This is where we'll be sitting." And everybody, we went ahead and stacked the truck that day, and we were deer hunting.
Yeah.
We were deer hunting. The thing about it is they were not running deer. Those dogs never ran a deer, but they just moved them a little bit, and they weren't running. They just eased on out, and they came right over where we were at. And it worked out great. It worked out so good that we did that, 3 or 4 different times that year?
Yep.
Yeah. And nobody got mad. There was no issue. Like, everything was cool with the dogs.
Well, and that's like hunting out there at Nate's place. Well, you'll see the hog dogs blow past the camera after a boar, and then about 15 minutes later, there's a 200-inch buck sitting there enjoying his meal.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't give 2 flips. He just said, well, I'll make a little loop, and I'll come right back. And everybody can be happy, and life is good.
That's right. So that's some big deer, though. You like 200-inch deer, though, man.
We got pretty good deer population here. I mean, Nathan's boat killed, I think, 2 of them that have went over 200. One maybe 209, one maybe 220 something in the last several years. And I mean, we do have a good deer. I probably ought to be a deer hunter, good at deer as we got around here.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like a promising place. Now, like I said, I'm not no big time deer hunter. This is strictly meat hunting here.
Right.
That's strictly what happens over on this.
Well, and I ain't saying I ain't shot one for meat. Me and my boy went deer hunting opening day here last year. He wanted to go deer hunting, and we went and shot a doe and, processed it all out. And he's happy. I'm happy. Life's good. I love hunting no matter what. I don't pursue the deer hunting like I do the hog hunting with the dogs. Like, I ain't got enough time in the day to do everything and be good at everything. So it's kind of, I really hadn't deer hunted. And probably 2010 was the last buck that I archery shot that I really cared about deer hunting and was trying to put a good one, down. And other than that, I've shot a few feeding cows here and there and just taking my boy out, but I can't say I'm really a deer hunter anymore.
Got you. So on these hog dogs, what's kind of the next step? What you're looking at? You're talking about breeding these Corsos in, maybe trying to. What about on like your strike dogs and stuff? You got anything you want to add to your pack or take out of it or?
Yeah, I do. I've got Ruby. She's kind of the matriarch of my yard. I've had 3 litters out of her. I'm trying to think. I don't want to tell a lie. 3 or 4. I'm trying to think here. I've had 3 litters out of Ruby. I've had a catch dog litter out of her. I put one of Kyle Nipp's bulldogs over her. We ended up with some nice catch dogs out of that litter. I put a Walker hound over. I ended up with Ringo, a nice strike dog. And then this last one, Dawson Terry's dog, I bred to her and trying to make some more catch dogs. I want to breed her one more time, but I want to go to a big game hound. Like, the best big game hound I could find. There's a couple of guys around that have bear dogs. And there's some guys up in New Mexico that I know that I may reach out to. But I want to stick her with the best big game hound I could possibly find and try and make me another strike dog litter with her. Because she's kind of a proven female. I've had great luck out of the first 2, and number 3, the jury's still out, but I don't know why they wouldn't make it, Yeah. I mean, the recipe for success is there with Dawson's dog and her. And I want to put one more litter of strike dog pups on the ground that'll be half hound and then the quarter English, quarter bulldog. And I don't know that quarter bulldog, I don't know exactly how I feel about it. It's all kind of trial and error, but like Ringo, he's 4 years old and he just keeps getting rougher and rougher and rougher. Like, I don't know if the bulldog's really necessary.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going the wrong route. I don't know. Time will tell, but he just keeps getting rougher and rougher and rougher. Oh. And he started out where he'd just bay anything. And now, hell, if it's 100 pounds or less, he's going to catch out. And even when he's working a pig, he's just so rough. He can't not get involved. He's always getting cut up.
Mm-hmm.
He just always stays beat up. And so I don't know if I'm really doing right by putting that bulldog in there or not, but I'm going to try one more litter with her. And then after that, I don't know. I've got enough dogs I can crisscross and zag and hopefully keep my line going.
Yeah, I was going to say you should be set pretty good there.
I don't know. I really like that half hound. Seems to work really well for our style. They can, I don't know. Everybody's different, but like when I kick the dogs out of the dog box, I don't really want them to blare 1.5 miles or 2 miles over yonder. I kind of like them to stay within 300 or 400 yards of me until they get on something. And then, if they're over 400 yards, they better be running something.
Yeah.
I don't really want them to go look that far because, hell, we're going to take off on the mules and go ride. And, if they'll just stay within 300 or 400 yards of me, we can probably find one, or they can find one,
I got you.
I guess inadvertently I'm kind of running them into them. But a lot of times, they'll be 200 yards to the left of me or to the right of me, and you never know there's a hog there, so they're finding them. I just don't really encourage them to go the 2 miles, with the drop of the tailgate or whatever and just take off. I just don't want one that's going to just be gone like that. And some people really like that. And that works for them. That's great.
It's aggravating.
I kind of like them to be. Well, it is aggravating. Now, damn, we was going to hunt this way, but now we're going 2 miles that way.
I promise you it's aggravating. Like, we don't, I say that loosely because, like, ours ain't going to blow out and go 2 miles. Now, they might hunt out 2 miles, but they're going to start and hunt where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm kind of feel the same way. I want them to hunt with me, and maybe range out 300 or 400 to strike one and get bayed. But if it breaks, I understand we got to go the mile, 2 miles. Right. We got to do what we got to do. I get that, but I don't want them to just go 2 miles to find one.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Because if they're running 2 miles to go find one, there's no telling how many they really crossed in that 2 miles. Some of the places we hunt, if you go 2 miles, well, you're just going to find one.
Yeah.
So there ain't no reason to go 2 miles that way when you could have found one, if the wind was right, say 300 yards past the pickup or whatever.
Yep. And that's that's a good thing about having the mules. Like you said, you can hit some of that terrain and just go. We got some
them
places,
mules will go anywhere.
Yeah, we got some places like I really wish I think if we did get mules and hunt it, like, it would be so much more efficient because, like you're talking about going 1 mile deep, 2 miles deep, that's pretty common at like up here at Eldridge where we're at. They'll be 1 mile deep and tracking a hog, and the reason generally we're going to try to get closer, but there's no road system there. It just, the road stops and then there's thousands of acres where there's nothing. There's not a road at all. There might be some old logging trails.
Right.
And they are cut all around the edge of the mountain. Now, you can walk them. Some of them you can get a four-wheeler a little bit, but at the same time, it's like if you had them mules or horses, I would say mules would be more sure-footed in these rocks. You definitely could do a lot better.
Yeah, I think if you tried it, or, went with somebody that had them and you seen kind of what they can do and where they can go, man, it blew me away, really. I mean, you just see it and you're going, holy shit, mules going up or down that? And they do. And you're like, well, I'll be damned, and they can get you there. And like our mules, if we're hunting a smaller place and we get to a barbed wire fence, we can put a chain around it, kind of suck it down where it's between your belly button and your belt buckle or wherever you can get it to. And hell, they'll jump right over. Mm-hmm. So you can really, really cover the ground pretty good on a mule.
Yeah.
I try not to walk much pig hunting anymore. I did all that in my 20s. I don't really like walking that much anymore.
And some of the places,
kind of like just riding on up there.
We might walk a little bit, but generally I'm gonna try to drive that damn truck or whatever I'm driving. I'm gonna try to drive it all I can.
Absolutely.
And like you said, it's just one of those deals where used to when we walked a lot, that's the same style dog we had. I wanted a dog that would go, 400 or 500 yards. And, he would check out to the left and in front of me and to the right and then come back. And then we'd just walk up and we'd do it again. We just did it over and over. And
yep, that's kind of what our dogs will do. They'll go out and loop out, make a circle and fall in behind you and find a mule trail and come right up to you, then loop out again, another 200 or 300 yard circle.
I probably caught more hogs with dogs like that than I ever did these longer range cast dogs.
Really?
Yeah. I hate to be. I mean, I just honest about it. That's me. That doesn't mean that everybody else did or didn't, but like I would say we caught more. And the reason
You've had enough dogs, you can see a difference.
Yes. I mean, over the course of 20 years and running, anything from just straight bulldogs on the ground to crosses to whatever, to having dogs that they hunt out 300 or 400 yards, to dogs that'll hunt 1.5 miles or 2 miles. The dogs that hunted between 500 and 800 yards, and with me moving, we caught more hogs.
Right. That's pretty similar to what we're doing. A human typically walks 3 miles an hour, and a mule typically walks between 3 and 4. So we're doing the same thing, that you're talking about. It's just riding on the back of a mule instead of walking.
Yep. And we got on a course of several years there. We rode side by sides a lot, and we would just let the dogs. It's hunting the same way you guys do with the mule, except we don't have, we're having to cut the motor off and listen and all that stuff. And
sure.
You got all these other smells. You got the exhaust and the gas fumes and all that stuff you got to contend with. I mean, those are things that can break a hog before you ever get to it. I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration.
Well, you're making a lot of noise rumbling in, I mean, yes. You ain't going undetected.
Without a doubt. There's been times where we parked a certain way and we had the hogs bayed, and they were bayed at, 600 yards. We're in a quiet truck. We know they can't hear us, but the wind is cutting towards them, and they'll break before we even get out of the truck good.
Sure. Hey, hogs got a good nose.
Yes.
They really do. And they're smart. So when we were thermal hunting, one of our buddies in our group had a red infrared, light that shines so the night vision could detect it.
Yeah.
Well, we kept shooting at this same group of pigs, and we started noticing, and we knew it was pretty well the same group because it was in the same area, several weeks in a row. And he kicked that red LED light on for the night vision, and there's sows in that group that started seeing that red light, and they knew it meant danger. They knew shots were coming just shortly after. So we figured out them hogs. I mean, they're just smart. They understand. So they'd see that red infrared light, and they just take off running before he even shot. Once they figured out that red light meant danger, they're smart creatures. They learn.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen them do stuff like that, and you're like, man, that didn't even make sense, And then you go back and you replay everything that happened. You're like, oh, they caught on to us.
Well, yeah. We're sitting there going, damn, did we misread the wind? Is the wind swirling or what's going on? And we figured out that, well, all he was doing is kicking that red infrared light on, and they could see that, and they knew it meant danger because they'd been shot at a handful of times, and it didn't end well for their buddies. So they got really wise and learned that when that red light come on, just boom, see you.
Yep.
And it wasn't even a light; it's infrared. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was saying it ain't like a light that casts a beam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an invisible red little glowing ember that sits on top of the gun, basically. And they just picked up on that real quick and figured out that was danger. So then I thought, damn, these things are kind of smart.
Yeah. Because like we put up some regular deer feeders, I think they're 200 pounds or something like that. The tripod feeders. Okay, so we took the tripods off and we just had them hanging. And
oh yeah.
Okay, so me and Rodney were talking about this. Rodney, he used those type feeders forever. And he was like, we just need to put one up here. I was like, they're not going to come to it. He said, yes, they will. He said, well, you won't spend near as much on corn, blah, blah, blah. I said, they only hit the corn if it's on the ground. And so I said, after, I guess, probably 3 or 4 years of discussing it, we go up there last fall or last deer season, and we get it up there and we hang it. We turn it on. The hogs come in. They stop within 20 yards of it. And every one of those hogs has got their head tilted sideways looking up at that feeder in that tree. And you know how many hogs ate from under that feeder?
How many?
One. And he was about 20 pounds. And he only did it one night.
They figured out that feeder means there might be bullets coming their way, huh?
Exactly. Everybody here is baiting Like they passed a baiting bill, and it costs $15 a year, and you can bait deer and hogs. You
have to pay to put a feeder up.
Yeah, or you ought to have corn.
Lord.
Used to, corn was
Oh,
illegal,
Lord.
and if you don't have your $15 permit, it's still illegal.
Oh wow!
So if you're not putting corn out, you're not going to have any game on your property. Very, very seldom, because your neighbor's going to have corn running out their ears. Well,
Right.
I was telling Rodney that, and there was a hunting club that borders ours, and Rodney and them used to hunt that one. And that guy was talking one day, and he had a damn igloo cooler, and he filled it up with tannerite. Yeah, so you can already see where I'm going with this. And so he said, I put it up under them feeders, and I'm going to kill them pigs. Well, he shoots, and he hits the tannerite, but when he had done so, I think the first one, he snapped, all the pigs took off, and he kicked one in there and shot again, and it blew up, but the pigs weren't really close enough. How many times you reckon he done that at these feeders? I'm like,
the more you do it, the more leery they get.
All right. And then it got to where they were talking about just, they wait till the feeders go off, and they pull in there, jump out of the truck, and just start shooting pigs. And you know yourself, you can jump out on a group of pigs. If you've only got 100 yards, how many hogs can you really kill? Within 100 yards. That's some of these green fields. That's all they are, is 50 to 100 yards long and wide.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all's fields are a lot smaller there than we're used to here.
Yes, they're tiny. All the fields on our whole entire lease wouldn't amount to probably one of y'all's.
Man, there's some places we hunt, not that they're in cultivation, but they're just there's 1,000 acres that's wide open that may butt up to a river or a set of trees that are heading towards the river.
Oh Lord!
But you may be covering 1,000 acres that's just about wide open.
What's the biggest open spot we got, Nate? That's on our lease up there where the pastures are and the clear cut, 150 acres combined. And and keep in mind, in that 150 acres, there's a house, there's a shop, there's 6 chicken houses, there's cows.
Well, that makes it a lot harder too.
Yeah.
Which Alabama is the most forested state.
Yeah, everything is dense.
Like our county, I think, is like nearly 90% forested.
Yes.
Okay.
So we just got a lot of trees, just a lot.
Yeah.
What's interesting?
It's so many trees, like I said, and that was my theory of it. I was like, these hogs are catching on to these people sitting at a feeder. And they know that when that feeder goes off, that their bullets are flying. And, like I said, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but like some of these hogs, these hogs have taught me a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I saved all the pictures, all the photo sequences and all that. So that way, if somebody's like, "Oh, you're full of shit," well, why is this hog looking?
You can say, "Well, look here."
Yeah, he's looking up in the tree, like they can't like lean their head straight back.
Right.
They literally had their head tilted sideways, looking up. I'm like, "Yo, we're caught!" Like they caught us right off the bat. There's no legs hanging down.
And y'all must have a whole lot of natural vegetation or insects or whatever the hogs eat anyway, because there's some areas. Like, especially the further you go west and, like, southwest down, you start getting in them areas, there ain't a damn thing for them hogs to hardly eat. So it wouldn't matter if they had to go through the guillotine to get a little feed. They're going to go there just because there ain't nothing else out there for them.
Yep.
There just ain't nothing natural hardly.
Well, we got all those, like we're talking about the cattle and stuff. I have only seen hogs in the pasture that were actually eaten from where the cows are eating one time. In 5 or 6 years at that property.
Well, that's pretty commonplace around here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's so different going from place to place. If you jump that hog in the middle of that pasture, you literally have less than 200 yards any direction to stop him before he hits a bluff or he hits the briars in the thick woods. That's the biggest open areas we got.
A lot of the places we hunt just ain't that open. Like there's guys like down south of me an hour and a half that, man, they may have 20 or 30 big wheat fields that are 200, 300, 400 acres, and they're running them down in them wheat fields and catching them. Whereas, most of what we hunt is on the river, and it's pretty thick vegetative ground, but you got to cross some wide open to get to some of that. We don't catch many in the wide open. I mean, it's just almost 90% in the briar patches, the woods, the creek bank, then the river. You know, it's a little thicker than what them guys are dealing with, and we just don't have that much wide open here that we catch bigs in. The other morning we did see one in a wide open field, and he made it 7/10 of a mile before the dogs shut him down.
Yeah, I think
he's a good pig.
I think that's pretty common. Is like where there's a lot of vegetation that's real thick and real dense. That's where the hogs are going to be at. You know, they like that stuff.
You bet. They love it. That's why I like the government land. All the government land, it holds the pigs so well because the only reason it's government land is because it's eroding and it's lowland, swampy area that, you know, they can't do anything else with it. It's all floodland.
Yeah.
So they turn into the Corps of Engineer land because they can't do anything with it. But the pigs just love it because it's swampy, it's thick, it's vegetative, it's right by the river or the lake, and I mean it holds them. But then you get the competition is what makes it a tough deal out there to people.
Yeah.
If there wasn't no people and you owned it, well, you'd have a hunting hole.
Hell yeah. Well, and some of these little spots that we have, like I said, we're lucky because we're, as far as we know, we're the only people that's hunting it. I mean, we lease it ourselves. And,
sure.
And I know that there's other guys that hunt around close. And I know they've been over on our, and I don't care. Like, I really don't.
Sure.
I could call any of those guys and be like, man, look, my dog's over there. And you know what they say? Hey, go get it. No problem.
Oh, that's the worst when somebody says no and you're trying to do things the right way.
Yeah,
like,
I can't stand
we're across that fence and, you know, we got dogs baying over there. Can we go over and catch a pig? I've only been told no once. I bet I've asked that question 100 times, and most people are cool.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, no problem. Go over there and get your hog. And, hey, if you want to come hunt over here, come on. But I had one guy tell me no, and I'm like, well, gosh dang. I said, they're baying over there, and they're 150 yards across your fence. We can't go over there. And he's like, no, absolutely not. I said, okay, well, we'll call them off, man. Well, I was sure hoping you'd let me go get them. And no, not going to happen. Like, well, damn, that sucks. But, you know, that's not the majority of people.
Yeah.
Most people are pretty cool. And what I figured out, instead of being the outlaw and just jumping the fence, go ahead and make that phone call, introduce yourself. You know, hopefully you know some people in common, and, you know, they'll give you a good reference. And, you know, I've had more people say, hey, come on and hunt over here. You know, as when I call first, instead of getting caught red-handed or somewhere you ain't supposed to be. And, you know, I used to think that just jumping was the way to go, but the older I get, it's like, hey, just a little communication goes a long way with people. So I'll call and they'll be like, man, yeah, hey, I'm glad you called. Thank you so much for calling. Go ahead and go on. And hey, if you ever need to come over there again, don't call me, just go.
Yep.
You know, that you run into that a whole lot, and that's invaluable, really, because, you know, you can't control where the hog's going to bay up sometimes.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I can tone the dogs off and I can get them off, but I mean, it's like, it's asking a whole lot of a dog that's looking at a pig to pull off and come to you, and it can be done, but I hate to do it.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, I mean, like I said, Nate had a pair of dogs, which Louis one we just lost not long ago, just a couple weeks ago. But him and Eminem, like they were pretty good at being called out. Now, I've got some. I don't know that I could call them. I don't think I could. I mean,
gosh, it's tough.
I don't want to go to shocking them and that, you know, and.
Well, no, then you're sending such mixed signals. You ain't, you know, it's tough on a dog's mind.
Oh yeah, you're gonna stress that. Hell, I'm gonna stress out. You know, it's like you can only imagine the dog. You know, he don't know what the hell you want him to do.
Exactly.
Well, that's exactly right.
And so it's, you know, but there's still a lot of good people out here in this world, and there's always one asshole out of the bunch that's gonna ruin it, and that's on both sides. I've had way more people.
Yeah, that's right. I've had way more people appreciate my phone call and respond favorably than I have people going, no, you can't go over there. Like I said, only one person. And you know what? Another problem that we face is hunting on the river. Sometimes that river is pretty big and wide and moving pretty fast, and you can't always just get across. I mean, it may be an hour and a half truck ride to go around. Well, you say, well, why don't you swim it? Well, when it's 25 or 30 degrees and it's 200 yards the other side of the bank and it's moving 15 mile an hour, that ain't the greatest option if you value your own life too.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes we do get a hog caught on the other side of the river. Man, you just sit there an hour and a half and just let them fight the hog until it dies. And boy, that gets me stressed out. I don't like that one bit.
No,
I can't stand not to be able to back the dogs. And there's sometimes I'm the youngest in my hunting group, and I'm like, boys, I'm going. And they're like, you ain't going across the river. That's dangerous. You ain't going.
It is dangerous.
He's like, I ain't asking you. I'm telling you, you ain't going.
Yep.
And I'm like, gosh dang, I don't want to sit here and watch this. Like, I want to go.
Well,
and I have crossed the river before, and several times we've rode across it, but there's certain instances when it rains out west that it's rolling so strong.
Yeah.
You'd almost be a fool to jump in because that river, I mean, it gets wild, and it's wherever you're aiming, you're probably going to end up 300, 400, or 500 yards downstream.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
On down the creek. Yeah. Cause
so there's sometimes it ain't feasible to cross it.
Well, Case was telling us the other day that he got I want to say it was 2 or 3 inches of rain real fast that evening. And it was like a flash flood. The places we were down there looking arrowheads and just riding around, kind of a dry creek bed, man, this stuff, it done washed the road out. It was 10 foot deep and rolling wide. I would never try to cross that. And that happened within a couple of hours.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When it comes a flash flood, that river's rising. I mean, there's been a lot of people losing fast.
Yep. It's pretty tough.
It just gets dangerous, and you got to make that call. Hey, we ain't going to cross that. The dogs fight pig. Hopefully they win.
Yep. They better have their damn boots tied up tight, huh?
You got a long pickup ride to go get your dog.
Yeah, no doubt. So, well, man, you got anything else you want to throw out there, Cody? We've got about 2 hours in on this one.
Oh Lord. Well, we do, an hour and 52 minutes.
We've just been gabbing, man. We've just been talking.
It's all right. I enjoy talking. That's good stuff. But no, I don't know anything else. I know I'm probably going to come up to the Mud Creek Hog Bay and meet you guys in person next year. Hell or high water, I'll find a way to get there.
Well, you just jump. Hey, just get in that shaggin' wagon that Ricky Loftus and them was driving.
I don't know whose that was. He told me to bring the camper up there. I was supposed to go up there. I should have came, I guess.
You get in that back seat. That's where the liquor and the beer's at, and you just ride.
Well, I'm sure I can find a good spot to be at in the van. If there's that in the back, I bet I can be all right.
Hell yeah. Well, man, we appreciate you. I mean, we really do. I've been wanting to talk with you for a long time.
I appreciate you guys reaching out and giving me the opportunity to talk, and certainly enjoyed the conversation.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing about this. Like, we try to be serious, but we just let the conversation go where it goes. If we want to talk about genetics, that's what we'll talk about. If we want to talk about just flash floods, and by God, that's what we'll talk about. And that's why we're us.
The conversation will roll wherever it rolls.
That's it, brother. Well, Cody, man.
Guys, thank y'all so much. I dang sure appreciate it.
We appreciate you. And like I said, you come on to Alabama anytime you get ready.
Yeah.
And if you don't see you before then, we'll see you in Ringling at the Mud Creek.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. I'll be looking for you.
All right, my guy. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Cody.
You bet. Y'all have a good evening.
Yes, sir, man.
You too.
Take care. Bye.
10-4. The world famous Cody Hess. Hog Dogs and Mules. Y'all check him out on social media. Pretty interesting feller, though. He's got some good content. They hunt. They run the dogs.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you can ask. I mean, that's our goal here, is to run the damn dogs. That's what I know. A couple old boys out there in Georgia that say that shit. They even wrote it on their hats. Run the damn dogs. Well, check out Boars N Broads for all your merchandise.
Yes, indeed.
10-4. Well, I'm tired as hell. Wore out. Nate's been working me hard the past couple of days. I got to let it go, guys. I can't talk to y'all no more this evening. I love y'all. I'll see y'all later. Till the next one, we out.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If there's anything or anyone you'd like to hear on the podcast, or if you'd like to come hunt with us, don't hesitate to contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com.